Session today from Remarkable Education on 10 top skills for future ready professionals and students. I am Prashant Mehta. I am a coach, mentor, trainer, researcher, and I am talking to you on these 10 core skills which are very critical for success in today's competitive world. Before I go deeper and dig deeper into these skills, I have categorized these skills into three major categories. First category is the technical skills, second category is the cognitive skills, and third category is the human skills. Let me give you an idea about what technical skills are. Technical skills are those skills which involve certain tools to execute work through machines. All this software industry comes under the guidance of technical skills. So if you look at AI and data literacy, digital fluency, coding, automation and system thinking, they actually work on the basis of technical skills. These are more sought after skills in today's business world, and most of the students also look for doing courses in these skills. The second skills are how do we think and how do we solve problems. So these are called cognitive skills. Analytical thinking, critical reasoning, you can say creative ideation, learning agility, and many more skills contribute to this cognitive skill, how we think and how we solve complex problems which are our future. And last but not the least, we also come to certain skills which can related to human. That means how humans interact, what are their emotional skills, how they behave, what are their leadership skills, how they negotiate, how they persuade, how they show resilience, and how they actually capitulate the minds of other people comes under the fact of human skills. So let us discuss these skills in detail. And if you can look at the chart which I have been showing you on this presentation, you will see that not only those 10 skills which we are discussing today, there are more than 20 other skills which are more critical for the success of students as well as those people who are entering the job markets in today's context. So let us come to skill number 1 and understand how that skill actually helps us in a bigger way. The first skill which we are talking about is analytical thinking and innovation. And if you look at the word itself, analytical, and you break this word into two parts, analysis, analytical derives from analysis, and if you look at analysis, that means that when you are actually thinking or you are trying to innovate, you are actually making analysis of things. This involves deeper research. This also involves lot of learning. Today analytical thinking is governed by AI. It can also be governed by many other principles. So when we talk about analytical thinking and innovation, we always look at how people solve the problems, analyze the problems, and come out with solutions in today's world. So analytical thinking is very, very important because you have to have a structure, you have data, you have to analyze the data, you have to interpret the outcomes, you have to connect your outcomes with the research, and therefore analytical thinking becomes very important course. It's basically you can say a decision science course. So analytical thinking today context and the innovation which is happening around us, it is imperative for students and as well as young professionals to build their analytical skills, means build your analysis skills. Analyze everything from every perspective, every dimension and every issue so that you can come out with correct outcomes depending on the problem which you are solving and problem which is in your hand. Second, let us come to another skill which is active learning and learning strategy. Understand this, that today we live in a highly competitive world, and the skills which we learn today, their half-life is about 2.3, 2.4 years. That means every 2.5 years I have to renew my skill. Why I have to renew my skill? Because active learning and learning strategies over the period of time has changed and evolved in a bigger way. Now what we mean by active learning is that how you actually learn, how do you learn newer perspectives of things. It is not that we learn only through the courses, but we also learn through video lectures, we learn by practicing, we learn by analysis, we learn by research, we learn by new age models which are hybrid models, we learn by interactive play, interactive quizzes and so many other things. So when we say active learning, what it means? It means that every time we learn through experimentation. Every time we put ourselves in a course, we are learning through various methods. One of the methods can be learning through audiovisual scenarios. One of the methods can be gamification. You can learn through games. So active learning means that the learner who is at the center of learning process is continuously engaged with the learning process. It is not like a lecture method of a traditional university or a college system or a school system. It is more through involving the participants in the learning. It's the participants who actually learn through various modes, and that becomes active learning strategies for the future. So this is the second skill which we really want to say that's very important. The third, we come to complex problem solving. Now look at it from this perspective. Every time we try to do something, we are actually trying to find a solution to the problem at hand. When I say complex problem solving, it involves a very simple method of doing it. As a student, you must have played with blocks or popularly known toy called Lego. If I give every student in a class a set of same Lego and ask them to make a product out of that Lego, everyone will come out with a different outcome because they have a different imagination. And when we say that we have a complex problem at hand, it means that every problem can have a different perspective and a different outcome. So when I try to solve this complex problem, I just break this problem into multiple parts, and for each part I try to find a solution. Once I have found a solution for each part, I align them back into a complex problem structure and try to give a final outcome. When we say complex problem solving, it is basically does not involve any standard procedure. It does not involve any notebook outcomes. It just involves newer methods of thinking, new dimensional thinking processes, and then adapting to do a problem or approaching a problem from different perspectives. Complex problem is very, very important today because we face cross-functional challenges across the organizations. In fact, if even I say that we are trying to attempt an examination like NEET or CLAT or IIT, approach to this examination also is kind of a complex problem which you are trying to solve, because your success does not only depend upon what you have read, your success also depends upon how you approach the exam in those 3 hours when you sit and write the exam itself. So complex problem solving is the most evolving area, and it helps us navigate the challenges which are before us. This is the third skill which I have actually discussed with you. Let me come to the fourth skill, which is critical thinking and analysis. Understand this, that we live in an era of lot of information overload. That means information is coming to us from various sources, and we as human beings have to sit and analyze that information. Information can actually lead us to form a bias. Information can lead us to form come in a misinformation form. It can be a rumor. So when I say that we have a critical thinking and analysis mindset, critical thinking mindset already means that for every information which you are trying to understand, analyze and find an outcome, we critically evaluate each component on various parameters or dimensions. It's not a cakewalk. It is simply that we sit with the problem and critically evaluate it from all dimensions and all perspectives, be it its pros and cons, and then go into deeper analysis of the problem. It is very, very important. See, in the context of thinking, we usually have two broader areas of thinking: critical thinking and creative thinking. And the critical thinking has become today the cornerstone of success stories for many people. So if you are a student, or you are a student who is trying to master certain skills, one of the skills which you need to master is critical thinking. This is very, very important in today's context, because we live in a very changing and fast paced world. Problems arise from areas which are actually unheard of. We have not encountered such problems before, and to solve those issues and problems which are at hand coming from areas which are not known before, it is for us to apply our mind in a way that we analyze that problem with a deeper analysis, and therefore critical thinking becomes most important skill that one can build. Let us come to the next skill, which is creativity, originality and initiative. And if we look at it, machines cannot generate new ideas. Machines can actually replicate. When I say originality, now what does originality means? There is a formula for originality. O is equal to K into I. That means your knowledge multiplied by your imagination creates originality. Now every person comes with a set of knowledge, but there are many few people who actually have a big or great imagination. Originality of ideas for those people who have actually discovered something is just not because they have knowledge, it is also because they have aligned their imagination to that knowledge. For young students and young minds which are thriving to become startup founders tomorrow, who are thriving to crack those competitive exams in Indian landscape, originality of ideas is very critical for the success. All those startups which have actually become more successful across the landscape of Indian business is just because that they not only had the knowledge, but they imagined something different. As a student, it is very imperative for us to understand this, that your imagination plays a very big role in your success. Bigger the imagination, greater are the chances of success. So when we say originality, when we say creativity, and when we say initiative, it also means that we are not actually making judgments. We are working through the problems, we are analyzing the problems with in detail, we are critically examining it, and using our imaginations, we are building products and services which can solve problems for future. If you really want to succeed in the world tomorrow, it is imperative for you that you build a strong imagination and align it with the knowledge you have acquired to create something which no one has done. I hope that this originality, creativity and initiative concept is actually clear to you. You have to develop an idea. That idea needs to be absolutely out of box. And when your idea is aligned with knowledge and imagination, that idea becomes a success story for future. Let us come to skill number 6, emotional intelligence. See, intelligence is very difficult to define. Mostly in the context of intelligence, we always talk about IQ, intelligence quotient. Our performance is measured by numbers. How many percentage did we score in the class examination or the university examination? That tells about the IQ. People may have very strong and high IQ. Whereas to become successful in today's competitive world, you don't need high IQ, you also need very high EQ. EQ means emotional intelligence and emotional quotient. Connecting with people, addressing people, self-awareness. You are aware about yourself. You are aware about things around you. Emotional connect also means that most of the time it deals with human interaction. How do you negotiate? How do you persuade? How kind of resilience you have? How you greet people? How you talk to people? How you engage with people? All forms the background of emotional intelligence. This is one thing which we need to address in today's context. Slowly and slowly, over the period of time, using mobile technology, we have brought ourselves in a silos. We have to break open those silos, connect with people in real sense, and then build the higher emotional intelligence. It is very, very critical study which you have to actually do, that emotionally we have to be very strong. See, we have a left brain and a right brain. One side of the brain actually depicts our high IQ, another side of the brain depicts our high EQ. Okay, people are usually in context, either people may have very high IQ, or on the other context people may have very high EQ. But when you meditate, when you do spiritual things, both the brains work simultaneously. There is a complete alignment of IQ and EQ, and therefore those people who meditate will actually make a strong case for themselves, because they emotionally they connect well. When you connect well emotionally, you are actually making a lot of sense. All great teams, whether it's made in sports or in business, whether it's in the government or it's in a context of general public, all people who work together in a team, they connect well and they deliver well when they are emotionally connected well, high emotional EQ. For success, you need high EQ. This is one of the most important point which I wanted to emphasize when we talk about skill building in today's era. High EQ is need of the hour. Remember that you connect with people. Remember that you talk to people. Remember that you address people. Remember that you listen to people. High EQ will also develop your good communication skills. That is why emotional intelligence is very, very important. Understanding people very effectively demonstrates high EQ. Let us come to the next skill which we want to talk, is reasoning and problem ideation. Understand also this perspective that when we are actually solving problems, we are actually connecting the dots. Say for example, who is good in reasoning and problem ideation depends upon how people address and analyze a problem. Today, challenges of problems come from cross domains. What I mean by cross domains is that problem may have element of, say, a marketing department or a finance department or a legal department or technology department, all integrated in one, and you have to find a solution. That means you have to reason it, you have to find the new patterns in it, you have to have a multidisciplinary approach, you have to learn the context of it, how that problem is actually originating, and then you have to find a solution. In today's context, analytical reasoning, mental models, neural networks, AI can help you reason problem, give and ideate these problems very effectively. It is very, very important that people from unrelated domains also can integrate their knowledge and find or help find solutions to those problems. Remember, this is future. You have to connect the dots to produce novel solutions. Discoveries are not made in vacuum. Discoveries are made when you connect those dots. All success stories in the context of students and in the context of young professionals were connected or identified or created by these reasoning and problem ideation outcomes. It is very important that we build a knowledge base to ideate the problems, identify solutions, and find appropriate answers to those questions which we want to address. Problem solving is a very, very important skill. Then we come to systems thinking and complexity. Now, what is a system? In the context of businesses, sometimes we call it input, process, and outputs is a system. Everything works in a form of a system. When we say systems thinking, what it means? Not individual decisions, a systematic approach to making decisions. You're connecting those dots to get those decisions. Look at it in a way that a machine will work only when its parts work harmoniously. That means the system of that machine is working well. Same analogy goes with us as people. When we say systems thinking and complexity, it is for us to analyze how systems actually work. See, we can have two different opinions, we can have opposite thought processes, we can have similar thought processes, we can have correlation between two variables. All this becomes part of system thinking. System thinking is basically kind of modeling, building algorithms, building new age thought processes, and then integrating it with newer ideas to find out solutions to the problems. So look at it in system thinking and complexity is very critical skill which one needs to learn. If you have gone through all the skills which I have actually talked, you have looked at it as critical thinking, ideation, system thinking, comprehension. All these are interconnected with each other. They require human interaction. AI cannot replace you. AI will facilitate you to work for you in an automated way. Your thinking, your knowledge, your imagination cannot be replicated by AI, because AI works on your commands. Therefore, when we talk about system thinking and complexity, then it is not a very casual change. The whole problem statement works in a form of a system. You have to find outcomes, and those outcomes come in a form of a system. There is a process, there is approach to it, there is a new process to it, there is a systematic steps to it. All that forms a systematic way of thinking. This is very, very critical, because in future, when we are dealing in technology, we live in a technology era, this system thinking and complexity, it becomes a very important tool for us to understand. We also look at AI and big data literacy. Now, you must be seeing that data analytics and AI are now revolutionizing how we actually access information. Many people fear AI. The fear is true, because if I don't want to learn, I will always be replaced by AI. But remember, as human beings, we have emotions. Remember, as human beings, we have knowledge. As human beings, we have imagination. AI is only built on knowledge inputs which we give to the system. Therefore, AI is not going to replace you unless you are doing jobs which can be automated. It cannot replace doctors, because doctors have to think about patient outcomes. So when thinking is involved, when imagination is there, when you have lot of things which a human can do, AI cannot replicate. Yes, AI can automate your work. AI can actually do repetitive jobs very easily, and therefore it can replace you. So be aware that as a student or as a fresh professional who is entering the profession, understand that you learn these tools. They facilitate you in execution of work in a faster pace, but at the same time, they also help you in getting outcomes. Big data or data literacy or big data analysis is very critical. Today, everyone is generating lot of data. Every time I use my mobile phone, I generate data. Somewhere that data gets stored. Somebody is analyzing that data in the background. From that analysis, they are trying to figure out what kind of a person I am, what kind of things I am looking at, what kind of work I do. All these are analyzed, and appropriately you get information about those things. Say for example, if you look at if you want to buy a mobile phone and you look for a mobile phone on a search engine, and then you go and explore different mobiles, the data is already created. That data has been stored somewhere, somebody is analyzing it, and then you move from platform to platform. The same mobile phone chases you. It means that the data is being analyzed and they are tracking you continuously. Therefore, the same mobile phone which you were searching, you were shown on one platform, the second platform, the third platform. Data today is new oil. This is a saying. Why it is new oil? Because everything is based on data. Huge amount of data is generated by people. Every time we use a mobile, we generate data. Somebody has to analyze it. AI has helped automate this data analysis. So learning AI, learning data literacy is a new requirement for you. It's not that I am a doctor, so data is of no use. It's not that I am an engineer, data is of no use. Every time I look at a patient, I treat him, I look at the outcomes, I'm generating data. From those data, there is a research formulation, and that research actually tells us the new outcomes. Data can also give you research insights. Those algorithms which are new, adapted, bigger and broader, built on premise of data, are getting more effective today. So important thing is that AI and big data are not only technologies, but they are in things. We as individuals, be it students or freshers, have to learn them step by step to make ourselves more meaningful in today's world. Let us come to another skill, which is leadership and social skill. Now, what happens? I'm not talking about political leadership. As an individual, every one of us is a leader in one sense. Leadership can be found all around us. If there is a cricket team, there is a captain. Captain is the leader of the team. In a politics, there is a government. Government is showing leadership. In a house, somebody is a leader. Students in college and universities have a leader. Leadership is all around us, because as organizations become more faster, more flatter, and more decentralized, we need good leaderships. All the success stories of today and in future will be based on qualitative leadership. Those people who command good leadership will drive the growth of the organization, the businesses. You as an individual have to have understanding of that leadership. We come to social influence. People connect with different organizations. People become members to different organizations. Why they become members to different organizations? Because they want to create social influence. It's not about social influence on social media. Even though people always talk about how many followers you have on social media, Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook, it's also about social influence within the society. How many NGOs you are connected to, or how many organizations you are connected to, how people understand you, perceive you, how people actually connect with you, talks about social influence. Many a times, a person with good leadership skills command a great social influence. Please remember, this is very, very important. Today, we live in an era where formal lines of authority are blurring. Organizations which were very hierarchical in nature are disappearing. Work is becoming more project driven. We assemble a team to actually conduct based on the project. The team discusses the outcomes, the team leader leads the whole project, and the projects are delivered. The hierarchical system is slowly being dismantled, because if you don't dismantle the old slow hierarchical systems, your businesses of today cannot survive. You live in a very fast paced environment. Environment is constantly change. In fact, it is a saying that the only thing which is constant in this world is change. If you don't change, you perish. How do you change? Depends upon how do you analyze, depends upon how do you integrate, it depends upon how do you work, it also depends upon how you lead. Leadership is cornerstone of success. Great companies are built by great leaders. There was a saying that Taj Mahal was not built in one day. It took years of painstaking work to build Taj Mahal, what a monument it is today. Similarly, if we want to bring or build organizations for tomorrow, for future ready organization, when we want to be at the forefront of competitive edge, when we want to be recognized as number one in the market, who drives the organization to this stature? It's good leadership. It's social influence. How it actually makes an impact on the minds of the people, how it creates an aura about the people. That is what is leadership. So leadership, please remember this, it is something which is more critical. You can also understand it from the example. A country or Indian team can win a cricket match or a cricket World Cup just because they were guided by a good leadership. Let us come to how to build these skills. Now the obvious question is, we have discussed some of these skills. See, it is very difficult to say that how we can build the skills, but if you progressively make efforts towards it and have a timetable to work on it, you can take some time to build these skills. I am giving you a little small framework for you to understand how to build these skills. First, learn the basics of the skills. That is most important. For every skill which we want to learn, we need to know the basics of it. Second, we need to practice it. Practice means that you have to use it every day. Third, you have to build a system around it. How you will use it, in what way it is used, how it helps us, how we align it with our objectives, how we align it with our career goals, and so on. And last but not the least, the best way to build a skill and then practice it is by way of actually talking to other people, by way of teaching, by incorporating research, by incorporating new dimensions of learning, by incorporating diverse viewpoints of people, and therefore you learn these skills. It's not one day process, it takes time, it's slow painstaking process, but if you make consistent efforts towards it, you can make it happen. Let us come to few more things, how it actually works. So if I want to build my future skills, which I have talked to you about, I can do it in a 90 days framework, which is like 3 months. The first month is devoted to foundation, where we'll pick up one skill and build the foundation, learn the basics of it, complete the course book of it, make a practice it, revise it, analyze it, and so many things we can do. In the second month, we actually do applied part of that skill which we have learned in part 1. That means you have learned the skill, you have built the models, mental models around it, and now you are applying those mental models to practice that skill in and day out. And then in the third type, we actually iterate that. It means that we try to apply those skills in every situation we are. Try to apply those skills in every problem which you are doing. Try to apply those skills in every scenario which you are actually exposed to. So when I say it's a 90-day program, learn the basics. Second, deliberately practice those basics every day. And third, iterate it. It means that continuously practice it again and again for you to develop that skill. Please remember, any soft skill which we are trying to build will not be built in a day. It takes time. It needs your efforts, and that is very, very critical. The future belongs to those who keep learning. Now this is very important. Most of the time we think that after I am graduating from my school or my college and I have graduated and I have completed my studies, my study part is over. Now I have to go and apply my learning in the real life scenarios. I have to go and work. That's not true. In fact, at every stage in life, we are always learning. When we say that we have to learn this skill, it is critical that we learn it in a way that every time the new skill emerges or new dimension emerges, we are at the forefront of learning it. Learning never stops. Remember this sentence. However experienced you become, how many years you spend in industry, how many years you spend or running your startups, or how many years you have actually experienced, every time you get up in the morning and you have to learn new skills. Every time in the evening, the skills which we have learned today become obsolete. The rate of change is very fast. You have to compete globally, not locally. When you have to compete globally, you can only compete when you develop those skills. Also remember, most of the time we spend time learning the hard skills. What I mean by hard skills is those skills which can be evaluated, those skills which can be measured. For example, if I am doing a course and I appear in examinations and I get a degree, that is developing my hard skill. That is basically developing my knowledge. I can measure it. I can know it through my grades, what kind of a skill percentage I have actually gained. So hard skills can be measured. When we talk to soft skills cannot be measured. Your communication is good, my communication is good, but we stand with someone, his communication can be better. Soft skills cannot be measured. Soft skills are acquired. Soft skills are required. It is a study from Harvard which says that 85% of the time when we hire somebody, we look at soft skills and not the hard skills. It's only 15% that we look at hard skills. Now remember this, when I say 85% of the time I am looking at soft skill and 15% of the time I am looking at hard skill, and look at it, every time we are only polishing our hard skills and not the soft skills. Soft skills are inborn. Soft skills are with us. The only thing is that we need to practice them deeply every day. We can build excellent communication skills. We can build excellent leadership skills. We can build excellent skills which deals with people. We can build critical thinking skills. We can also build divergent and convergent thinking skills. So soft skills we have to practice. Hard skills we don't have to practice, but most of the time reverse is true. People work more on hard skills than soft skills. To get hired in the 21st century, you need soft skills. You need to learn soft skills. You need to practice soft skills. You have to be good at soft skills. That is how you can actually grow in your career. Let us come to another slide which actually shows, look at this. Think positively, network well, exercise daily, eat healthy, work hard, stay strong, build faith, worry less, read more, be happy, volunteer freely, relax often, love always, and live forever. Most of these are nothing but kind of soft skills. Nobody will get successful outcomes unless he practices soft skills, unless he builds his soft skill library. As a person, as an individual, I repeat to all students, irrespective of wherever you are, be it in school or in a college, or the fresh people who are actually starting their careers within the industry or within the startup setup, build your soft skills, focus on soft skills, connect more, network more, talk more, discuss more, debate more, analyze more, think more. All this is more critical for your success. Have a broader imagination, have a broader output, look at a holistic perspective, look at it from a global angle rather than a local angle, and you will actually succeed wherever you are and whichever profession you are in. With this, I think I have covered everything. Thank you very much for patient listening to me. If you have any questions, I can take your questions regarding this skill lecture which I have just talked to you about the soft skills, important soft skills. Any questions from your side? Thank you very much and have a good day.